Hey Shrub Crafters. So, got something new. And shot it yesterday with 3F Pyrex. And we're on our way to go do a bunch of shooting today, hopefully. And I'll give you my opinion on what I think about. But I'll give you a hint. It's a 36 caliber, just like my percussion traditions, but this one is hand built here in America. I hope. I think so. And ordered it from a company called Custom Flintlock. And we'll do some shooting. I'll give you all the specs, and I'll go through what I think of them. And there's not a lot of information on their company, so I will give you 100% unbiased because I spent my money again on this. Nobody sponsors me for anything. I sponsor myself, and I'll tell you what I think of it. And good, bad, or ugly, I will let you know. And we'll see how it performs, and then we'll go from there. Alright, well, there we have it. 20 grains, 20 yards, 36 caliber. Not fantastic. This last one went in an angle like this. I was actually on a tree diagonal over there standing. Unfortunately, other camera's SD card is full apparently, so shut off. So first shot, second shot, third shot. That one was me offhand, kind of leaning against the tree. Let me introduce you to Custom Flintlock. New acquisition, Custom Flintlock Custom 36 rupp style rifle, and 30 flintlock LNR, and I'll hold all the review information about this till the end. We'll put some around. They just got some fresh 3F old Einsford. So I tried it yesterday with some Pyrex and getting spotty ignition, which didn't surprise me because Pyrex and flinters don't necessarily work well, so I had to kind of trickle 4F down into the touch hole. But without further ado, here it is. Pay close attention right there, that trigger guard. And if you guys want for detail, look at that. Just pay attention to that screw and look at where the screw is, how far it comes on their side. So those will come up a little bit later. The balance point is just before the thimble. Rupp styling has really cool down curve. And again, pay attention to that trigger guard. Go over a full review and fit and finish and everything, and how it was shipped, where it came from, how much I paid for it, and give you my experience and hopefully give you some pointers based on that experience of what happened and how it's going. And we'll find out after we shoot it, but just to see what's on paper right now. Down there by the 8, one in the heart, one by the 9, one in the 8, and those two in the forehead were 20 yards. And then that one in the ear was 30 yards diagonal coming across. Okay, 36 cal. 36. So we're using a 350 round ball. These have swage. And I'm sorry, these are not the swage 20. These are 350 round ball with sprue ordered from Track of the Wolf. And then we're using our pillow ticking geez, I think it's Ox Creek 15,000 patch. I'm pretty sure that's the one we were using. Some of you, if you want, you can go back in the videos to see. Otherwise, that's where we're at. But 20 grains of powder. It's where my other one runs at perfect. And I tried 30, shoots a hair high. But 20 put it right on. So here we are, about 25 yards, 28 yards. And that's where we're going to be shooting. Center mass left. Oh, see? Always in a safe position. Well, I'm making pretty pictures for you. It's 2 times that did that. You saw that. All right, now, I'm glad that happened twice on camera, or a couple times on camera. So, some of you guys who are super experienced black powder shooters could be able to answer this for me. Trigger part does not say what is in this kit. I find that if I try to cock this before setting my rear trigger, it slams forward. And I know there's certain style of trigger patterns out there that you have to set the rear in order to engage. If you guys know that information, please leave that in the comments. That's the 3rd time that's happened to me. Once yesterday, actually dangerously so, put a ball up in the air over my berm. Thankfully, it was at such an angle, and the closest house that way is well out of range. I mean, I'm surrounded by nothing but acreage that way. Luckily, still severely dangerous, and I'm not happy with that. So I set the rear, and then I can come to half cock. So one of the things right here, it's not throwing all the way forward, it's stopping. So I don't know if that's the flint distance. This is a 3/4 inch, almost an inch, 3/4 by I think inch long. I use it on my 50, but I'm shooting at, you guys are seeing that, these weren't going, this wasn't hitting forward, and I'll watch the video myself when we're done, but I don't understand why that's not throwing a shower of sparks. The next thing that really you're going to hopefully see in here is there is no touch hole liner. It is just a touch hole in the side of the barrel. This is supposedly a coal rain barrel, and I'll get all the specs up here for you, but Did not know that. I didn't know people make them nowadays without putting a touch liner in. It's not a bad thing as long as it's put in the right position. Hole looks big enough, but I'm not getting a consistent ignition. And I thought yesterday it was attributed to the Pyrodex, which is notorious for being a little harder to ignite. I mean, it still ignites. All I was doing yesterday was putting 4F right on the touch hole and kind of trickling it down into a trail. I know normally you want to kind of have it away from there, but I found that it was giving me a faster ignition and a better ignition with the Pyrodex. Old Eynsford is supposedly quality stuff, so I don't know what's going on here. Gun's clean inside. Well, I mean, not clean, it's fouled from the first shots, but there's no gum and anything that should be in there doing that, so I'm a little confused. I picked it beforehand, and I'm picking it now. So there's no reason it shouldn't be going off. So we're going to try it again, and we'll go back to that target. Got it. We're going to the right target. Now, interestingly, I said focus, follow through. This is the best shot I have so far, 76, 78 yards. Just to the right of dead center where I was aiming. So the round is rising and going back down at this distance. So with this the case, if I can do this, I might be able to hit that small plate. Doubtful? I can tell you, overall, I'm not impressed. Overall, I'm not impressed with my shooting. Not sure if that burned up or not. Drum roll. Maybe we can see on the other one where that hit, but it's actually really cold here today. And condensation. I mean, that's something I thought about after I blew into the plug. Maybe I put some condensation in it. Maybe that's why that charge wasn't going, but we'll see. Some of you guys are better experts out there than I am. Let's see if I can get some good gun porn going on here. Beautiful old stump right there. Alright, so here's my 20, 25, and this is where I was aiming, and that's where I hit. What's interesting is that's where I hit yesterday with Pirate X, 2 dead center hits. So I don't know if that's me flinching, I guess. I have no idea. It doesn't seem like I should be. Here's one of our shots. I think this was the first one, this was second, and this was the third one. This was the one from 75, 78 yards. I was aiming about here and it hit there, so. Here's some of the small ones. There's actually a third shot, but 1, 2, and maybe a third. But I don't think I got that third on the last hit going through. All right, I'm gonna get warmed up and I'll get you the specs going here. Nose cap, sight. It's a nicely done sight. Fitted very nicely. There's a little bit of wood chipping out. That was filled in with some bond too. Nose cap, sight. It's a nicely done sight. Fitted very nicely. There's a little bit of wood chipping out. That was filled in with some bond too. Super hard to get the ramrod out. They do have it tapered. Super hard to get out, but look, a little bit of wood fill where they had a crack, or it looks like they missed with a pin when they were drilling or whatever. I'm not sure. A little bit of an overhang. Top thimble loose. Middle thimble good. Bottom thimble good. Here's the biggest issue I have with this gun. Right there. Giant gap. When I got this was shipped nicely overall in a pre-used shipping box, but this was rattling loose. And this is adjusted through this tang screw. Right there. That tang screw tightens down into the brass, and so I've got this gap after tightening this up. So poor fit to finish here. I don't know what happened. This screw was left long, and it's actually bent, so when you screw it in or out, it actually screws in wobbly. Same thing here, there's a little bit hanging out on this side, but if you go any farther on this rear one especially, you hit that arm on your cock. And this front one is actually resting right against that spring, so I actually need to back that out and get it off that spring. That one is how it was when it came. I did open up the lock and look at it, but the trigger is super gritty. You can see actually under the trigger there, hopefully you can see that. That trigger appears to have been polished down because it was dragging on the trigger guard. When I got it, the trigger guard was so loose that when I took the rear pin out to look at, which I almost never unpin guns. I took the rear pin out, tried to set it, and it was still attached here. That's when I tightened up the tang, and this is what I got. The trigger, it did not say what he used, so I'm guessing it's probably any of the stuff that log cabin sells, or that Track the Wolf sells, some kind of investment thing. But super gritty. I actually put some silicone, dry lube silicone in there. Blew the parts out with that on the trigger just because I needed something to kind of slick it up. And it's the back of the trigger where it's into the wood. Front fit and finish, you can see on the inlays. And rear sight actually, really good overall. Biggest problem I have with buying these fixed sight guns, and any gun on sight unseen for anybody, and I tell you this, is that you can't go lower on a fixed side gun, but you can see if I can keep that straight. See, there's that wiggle in there. Is that you can't go lower on the rear sight. I mean, I could take a hacksaw blade and file into it and cut down and make my notch deeper, which is what I'm going to probably have to do if this continues to shoot high. Otherwise, I'm going to have to hope that the maker, which they didn't do, I don't think, if you look, put a 3/8 dovetail in there, and I don't think that's what that is. So I think my only solution is to make that notch deeper, and I actually might just file that down. The problem is with these, you know, a 36, you want it to be a pinpoint like a 22. You want it to go right where you want it because you're shooting at a squirrel's head. You know, never mind that you're struggling with the flinching with the flint part of it, too there. But apparently a Coleraine barrel and you know, 6 foot, and that comes right up to me, you know, just to the base of my neck. So I'll get you all the specs here in one sec. And those were the points I wanted to point out about the disappointing aspects of this gun, maybe. That's cosmetic stuff, as well as that touch hole. So get ready. I'll give you all the specs and we'll go from there. So I'll read this to you off my phone. So this is Sitting Fox's website, which is sittingfoxmuzzleloaders.com. Sitting Fox Custom Muzzleloaders. This was the F267 Lehigh Valley 36. We get lots of requests for small caliber squirrel and target rifles, but they never last long on the site. Here's a newly completed 36 caliber Lehigh Valley rifle that won't be on here long. This little sweet little gun is nicely built, rather simple gun with all the good stuff and great looks too. The gentle curves and flowing lines of these Lehigh Valley guns make them a real favorite. This one is done in CM2 curly maple and trimmed in brass. At its heart is a 13/16 by 42-inch Coleraine barrel in 36 cal with a 1 in 48 twist. The lock choice is L&R Dur's Egg Flintlock, featuring a stirrup forged mainspring, rainproof pan, and roller frizzen with bridle. Davis number 4 double set triggers. So it did say triggers. Give lightning fast ignition for surefire accuracy. They fire shower sparks directly into a drilled and coned vent, which I guess I don't understand what that meant, or didn't understand what that meant. Drilled and coned. I understand what drilling and coning is. I just thought that it was drilled out using a coned insert in the vent. My mistake. Cone vent located perfectly in the sunrise position above the pan. The brass trim has been polished to a semi-matte finish so as not to scare game away. The CM2 curly maple stock has been finished in a madder root red stain, so popular in that area. The length of pull is 14 to fit today's average shooter. It comes up smooth and right on target. The front sight is a silver blade and a brass base, and the rear is cast flat top Pennsylvania style for quick sight acquisition. The stock has been antiqued by lightning in the areas of wear and darkened in the protected areas. This gives a great older, worn look with lots of depth and helps highlight the great lines of this gun. The brass trim has been antiqued too. This is not a poor boy. It has all the amenities of a fine rifle, including the unique rupp style, R-U-P-P, in case you want to look it up, style butt plate, side plate, entry thimble, and nose cap. You'll love the smooth looks and feel of this fine new rifle. We're proud to offer it for your consideration for a modest, here you go, $15.99. It's US dollars, $15.99. $60 to ship it to me. His actual shipping fees were $39. I don't mind him making a little bit of money, but I emailed. I got a response right away from the owner, Ray. I asked him, was this a consignment gun? Was this new? I mean, I read new, but again, new is many things in the black powder world, so I just wanted to confirm. He said it was from one of his builders. The picture in here, I'm going to see right here. I'm trying to see if I have the close-up of the lock or the trigger guard, because I blew up all the pictures, looked at them, and I found that when you're looking at the camera, the images online, the trigger guard is flat against the base. Doesn't have that giant gap. I mean, that's something that I would have hoped I had seen. Let's see. All right, I doubt this is going to come in clear. No gap in that one. And here's what I was reading off of you guys. Here's the whole site. So, but here's the one that hopefully you'll see. Doesn't look like a gap there. So it was either great creative photography or it came loose later. But I mean, I was more concerned about this little section at the base under the lock where it looks, a little oversized on the inletting. So I thought that was a little less than perfect. I mean, this is a difference between paying, $4,000 from a master builder and $1,599 to a guy with a site. So I loved my 36 caliber, the little cap lock Traditions or Shenandoah, and it's just a tack driver, and I really do love it. I did change out the front sight to a point of aim impact for 20. I got a copper base with a German silver top to that. And I wanted to add the flintlock in so that I have a small caliber, cheaper gun to shoot and work on my flintlock throughout the year, because after missing a 4-point buck this year, falling off of a hang fire, and it was a long hang fire. I was in a snowy, rainy, overcast, drizzly day. I was in a pop-up. Kept my priming nice, but it had obviously sucked up some of that moisture. And when I finally had a 60-yard shot on a deer, I came up. He was at 28, and I had no shot. Got him down to an open clearance, kind of stopped. Pulled the trigger, and it fired, and it flashed. And I just fell off the shot because it didn't go off, and unfortunately I came off. It didn't follow through, and that was all me, total miss. When it did go off, about 3/4 of a second later to a second later, I had fallen off and went right off, either over or under him, not sure where. He'd never been shot at because my property has not been hunted in years, and the guy next to me doesn't hunt, and he literally just stood there. So I tried to reload again, and I didn't get a shot in time, and he just kind of went off. And I searched for about a half hour in that one spot looking for blood sign, anything, absolutely nothing. Followed where he went, and he was gone. So confident that it was a total miss, and that was my fault. So that's what this gun is for. There's a few other guns I was looking at. I've kicked around going with another Pedersoli, but I thought, what the heck, I'd like an American put together built gun, support a small business owner. And I'll be honest, I'm disappointed in the gun. Sitting Fox guns. Ray Franks, the owner. I emailed him some questions. He emailed back a one-line response, which is not unheard of for a lot of small business people or people in general. He gave me his phone number, so I called him. Gave me a couple quick answers, and I thought about it, and I said, what the heck, why not? And I was between this and one other company, an older used gun from a well-known builder, and both 36, and I was wondering which way I wanted to go, and I just liked the looks of this one, and I thought I could make it my own, and I will, but when you spend $1,659, you would hope you have a shooter out of the box. Pedersoli delivers that. Traditions delivers that. I know people knock them because it's maybe not a custom-built gun and all that, but I've had nothing but good luck overall. Yes, I've had broken parts, failures, things like that have fallen apart, and some frustrations over the year. But I'm not paying, almost $1,700, on the positive side, $1,660. For that, I could have gotten 2 Pedersolis, 3 Traditions for the same price, and between the 3 of them, I probably would have had 3 shooters, 2.5 shooters. They're higher-end deluxe guns of the Pedersoli line. You're pushing $1,000, but you still have $500, $600 worth of, getting the casting. That's another thing I'm picking up and getting into is the casting model balls and using the lead and doing a lot of that as well. Overall, though, seemed like a nice guy. Struggled to get a working confirmation number for priority shipping. He sent me one, said it was shipped. I actually had to wait a couple days before I emailed him, asked him for it, and he gave it to me, so I think he shipped it that day. The number didn't work, and I was like, so I emailed him, said I had trouble. He said, and I know how priority shipping works. It loads, it takes some time, and especially around the holiday season now, but it took emails back and forth, finally a phone call. I was like, look, just screenshot the darn email receipts for me, something. I could care less how much you pay for shipping. I mean, that's, part of business. But finally got a working one that got me a day so I could track it, because it's important. You spend money, you want to know where it is, you want to know if something's broken, and so on. But excitement comes. I open up the box. Front sight was bent. He actually did do a nice little reinforced piece of wood in there, packed it well. Postal Service does their best to try to destroy things, and it's a shame. So front sight was bent, but the nice thing about these sights is, I got a big pair of linemen, pliers, and turn them sideways real smooth, and was able to put them right back to dead center. My biggest concern is that trigger guard just was rocking and rolling. I mean, it was loose. And you want to talk about disappointing. A loose trigger guard in a custom-built gun shipped out that way. Again, the older I get, I've just turned 40 this year. I'm trying my best to be a more calm, peaceful, happy person. I just expect more for my dollar, I guess. I'm not saying this isn't a great gun. I just think that when you open up a box, I can get the bent sight. I get it. Bubble wrap over the sight would have been maybe helpful, but I don't know if it really happened in shipping or not either. That's the hard thing. So I called Ray right away, answered the phone, told him, hey, I got the gun, by the way, the trigger guard is loose. And he said there's a pin in the back that holds it, probably just got bent. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that doesn't hold the front. But and I didn't think of the tank screw initially, and I just was like, this is crazy. Pretty disappointed. He did not once offer, hey, I'm going to take it back, or here, let me get in touch with my gun builder or anything like that. He just said, yeah, pop that pin out, see. And I said, all right, we'll see what happens. Got to thinking about it, and then popped the pin out, checked it, it was rock solid straight, put it back in. Trigger guard did not fall out, so that told me it was still being held in there, and I remembered that that's a through tang screw goes down into those trigger guards, and it was super tight, but I was able to tighten it up, and I think if I back it out and tighten it up again, back it out, tighten it up, I should be able to draw that in a little bit more. But it's rock solid now, but there's just a big gap. That's disappointing. I guess that what I could do is try to figure out a replacement guard of the same size or quality, but without knowing, I could call a log cabin shop to sell them, show them what I got, send them some pictures, see if I get something close, and go from there. But for the money, save your money in a custom gun, unless you know like a Herschel's House or some of these big name builders, or you want to do it yourself. I saw a 36 caliber. I figured I got so much on my plate right now as it is between this new house, and we've got some farm stuff going on now. I got goats out there, chickens, making a full-blown shrubstead, and had to do some construction on the back of the house here, putting a porch up, all while working through this year after that car accident where that woman hit me. And I figured I'm just going to save some time, get out there shooting hopefully, and score some small game. So it's here, it's shooting. Some deficiencies now of the gun shooting. Firing, the lock, when it goes down, it clicks, and I'm going to watch the video too and I'll see, but it doesn't seem like I'm getting great spark off of that L&R. Now I've heard recently that L&R's quality is hit or miss, and some people don't like them, so they take some tweaking to get right. I don't know. I have an L&R lock on one of my other ones that is 20 years old, and it's phenomenal. But again, 20-year-old versus modern day, I don't know. The Davis triggers, I've always heard decent stuff out, but it is gritty. The other thing in the video, and I'm going to leave it in because it's scary, and these are things that happen with these guns. And it may just be that you have to set the rear trigger. I don't know because there's no owner's manual with this, and they didn't tell me which Davis trigger they used. But when the hammer is fully down, if I set the rear trigger and then come to half cock, it locks up tight. If I forget to pull that rear trigger, go to do everything and pull that back, it drops down. And it did that twice, I think, on camera today. It did it once yesterday, and yesterday's actually sent a shot up in the air. Luckily, I'm fairly certain nowhere did it land anywhere dangerous because all the trees that I have behind me, but it still was at an elevated angle, and it shouldn't have to worry about that on a lock. So the fly and the half notch and everything looks fine inside there, but just something going on. The other thing is I didn't see that it wasn't a vent liner, that it was drilled and coned. I thought that meant drilled with a cone vent liner. My mistake. I just like the idea that I can put one in and take one out, change it, change size, do it a different pattern and try to get it faster or whatever. But you can fix that by drilling and tapping it, and that's something I'm probably going to do here. But again, questions to ask, money that I spent up front that you should think about, things I didn't think about. The fixed rear sight combination, I'm not sure how they mathematically do it. They just pick one that's good or bad, but I know there's how deep you can cut, how it lays and all that. But on a fixed rear sight, and anybody who's looking to build a gun, do yourself a favor and look at all the books, look at the formulas, go with a higher sight than you think you need, and go with an adjustable rear sight so that you can go lower than you think you need. That way you can go from 20 grains of powder to 90 grains of powder in these small calibers. On the bigger caliber, same thing. You can come from like 30, 40 grains all the way up to 120 grains, whatever you're going to shoot through your guns. That's my advice. Take it or leave it, but I'll tell you, the fixed rear sights done right. I mean, this one's pretty close. Clip right on the 20-yard line. I'm shooting point aim. That's awesome. Further back, it's getting higher. Then all the way back, it drops back down again, which is nice. But you want to have a confidence level of 20 to 30 yards. You're putting that ball where you think you're going to get it, so that you have that small game capability. So yeah, triggers. Screws. The screws holding it from the side plate, holding the lock in. So lock screw, rear lock screw. There's a gap, and you'll see it in the video. You saw it in the video or see it in the video. There is a gap because if I go too far, it's actually all the way through, and it's hitting that. The hammer, the cock, and it'll prevent it from actually going up or down. So that's as far as I can go in. So I either got to put some kind of copper spacer, brass spacer behind it, or I have to file and shave that screw off and back. Again, should have been done by a builder, but it's, I guess that's their quality put out the door with a price reflection of it. I don't know. The front one going in of this front of the lock, that one is same thing, right up against that mainspring. Don't know if it should be resting against that. It's as you saw in the video, that frizzen goes forward, and not every time is it flying forward. I'm using a 3/4 inch by inch flint, and that distance was perfect. I tried a few different sizes and that I had, and that one seemed to be perfect. So I seem to be getting a good spark. I just got the old Einsford today, and 3F. You would think it goes out faster, but as you saw, I was getting a lot of hang-ups in there, and that gun was clean. I can get good ignition in a lot of my stuff, so I don't know. I vent picked every time. Putting quality powder down it. The only thing I can think of is that when I blew into it, which I would, it's just because it's cool, blowing out the smoke on there is fun, but I probably put condensation and moisture in, so I'm not going to say that's a placement issue of that hole. I think I put condensation into that gun, put powder in there because I'm using a lighter 20 grain charge. I probably had wet powder in that section. That's my theory on that, and that's probably what it is. A few things, just take it for what it is. Beautiful looking guns on the site. Looks like they've got some great stuff. I just think that for $1,660, you can buy a Pedersoli brand new from some of these sites out there in 32 right now. 36 is hard to find. Part of the reason I bought this one. But you can buy 32s, 40s, the 36s, and probably get one or a Crockett percussion. I really wanted a Flint. That was my hang-up. That's what I really was looking for. But I could have gotten a deluxe Pedersoli. I think it's the Dixie Deluxe Pedersoli, Pennsylvania version, or Pennsylvania Deluxe version in 32 for probably $900, and I still would have had 800 left over, $750 left over by the time I paid everything going out the door. So I just didn't want to recalibrate up to a different one, but think that through. The locks of the Italian guns are awesome, with the exception of my Frontier one, and we'll get into that's not today, but the Flintlock and the other one goes off. I've gotten to, as you've seen in some of the previous videos, 25, 30 shots in a row. Triggers are tight, crisp, and I'm just confident in those. The Davis trigger is gritty, rough. Maybe it'll break in, maybe it'll break. It just, honestly, it feels like a MIM, metal injection molded trigger that's going to break on something. It just doesn't feel sturdy compared to some of the other stuff. So, all said and done, I personally, my only belief, feel I'm on the wrong side of a purchase. Not that they sold something deceivingly or anything like that. I just think that for the money, my money and your money would have been better spent going with the Traditions, going with a used Hawken from CVA or one of the Thompsons. Try to wait for one of the Cherokees or Cougars or whatever in the 36 cal or the 32s. Or maybe build your own. My take on that is I could have put out the same quality that I bought for half the price. Now, had that quality, had the trigger guard been tight, had it fit flush, had the screws been done right, and what else? The thimble been tight, and those little issues, all day long worth that 1660. Being that I got a gun shipped out with a bent sight, trigger guard, all that stuff, that takes that way down in my book. That just tells me that either you have a builder who doesn't know what they're doing. And again, I haven't built one of these. My uncle gave me one that he's built. I've got all these others. I've built plenty of other stuff, and I could figure this out pretty easily, especially with the pre-inlet stuff. I just don't want to sit there for hours on end. I've got leather stuff in this room that I'm working on, leather, and a lot of other things, projects going on. So for my money, this is a choice. I think stick with Italian guns. And Pedersoli puts out a phenomenal product. And check out, Black Powder Maniac. He runs the Italian guns too in Traditions, and he's having the same thing I have. Great luck, and if you break something, send it back on your warranty. If it's not on your warranty, you can replace it. But take a look at their site. Positive dealing overall. I just thinking that when you're buying a gun, a used gun, new gun, custom built gun, get all the facts, get all the details. There was no guarantee or say, hey, you got a 3-day inspection or anything like that. I didn't see that anywhere. It might be on the site. I didn't look, honestly, because I have no intention to send it back because I really wanted a 36 and the money's out there and I've shot it and I'm cool with that. I'm not overall not impressed. I mean, Pyrex, as you'll see, I'm going to leave those in too and I'll label all that, but the Pyrex in the 3F P powder, we know it doesn't work very well in flintlocks. Obviously, I make it work. And it does go off every so often, but I would have thought the Allianceford goes off every time, especially doing proper technique, picking and all that, and then packing it. So that's got me a little hesitant, but worst case, I want to take it over to my uncle's house and see if he'll help me drill and tap it, and I'll put in like a White Lightning liner or something like that, and that should solve that ignition. Unless some of you guys who are more experienced and gals out there, let me know if there's something that you saw me doing wrong in there. I'm sure there is. There's always something. But that cones should be going. I mean, I overcharged it. I undercharged it in a few. I mean, again, less is more and farther away, so it goes in. But I'm not sure. So anyway, take a look. Let me know what you think. But Sitting Fox Guns, they do make some nice looking stuff on the website. Just ask the right questions like anything. And I'm not knocking them. I just think the trigger guard stuff that's kind of sits poorly with me, considering that the kind of money I'm putting out. Now, I had bought a Traditions gun for $300, whatever. I would have expected that, but I mean that gap is just huge, and it just doesn't. I don't know. You're bummed out. I guess I'm bummed out. That's the best way to say it. So anyway, hope you guys found this useful. And I'm going to try to keep the videos going. I've got some great stuff out there. I just got to get it all organized and going. And now that weather's turning really bad, trap season and hunt season, trap season's middle, but hunt season's over. So it's small game and trapping right now. So hopefully I'll keep you guys all in the loop on that and let you know what's happening. But everyone stay safe and God bless. And we'll see. We're coming into unique challenges ahead in this country. So we'll see what happens, but stay safe, and here's the next one.